A Rock and Roll Guide. Chapter 1. Rock and Roll is Here to Stay, Danny and the Juniors, 1958. Rock and Roll Info. I had an early rock album once with Rock Around the Clock by Bill Haley and the Comets, Chuck Berry, Little Richard, Jerry Lee Lewis and Buddy Holly. It was called The History of Rock and Roll or something like that. I tried to find it online. There is plenty of stuff online about the history of rock and roll, but I couldn't find that album that somebody created in the mid-1970s. In amongst the songs, they had tapes from early DJs who were denigrating rock as the devil's music. The YouTube channel Jive Bunny contains the music of Jive Bunny and the Mixmasters, who released several songs in the late 1980s, early 1990s that mixed a bunch of early rock songs. That's rock right there. An explosion of sound that knocked the big band era into history status. People were dancing like crazy all the way back to 1941 with In the Mood, which was an early rock song by virtue of its speed and lively feeling. I makes people want to move to the music. Rock is music with a beat that makes you want to move, at least tap your toes. There is a YouTube channel called Top Culture which has videos of the top 1 and 2 songs every month in the 1960s. It wasn't until 1965 that they got away from the big band sound and crooners like Pat Boone and Nat King Cole to go rock or pop. After 1965, it was pretty well rock/pop, even with some of those soft rock songs of the 1970s like Love Will Keep Us Together by Captain and Tennille. It was a monster hit for some reason. I remember Beatlemania, which didn't really interest me. I remember the Byrds on the Ed Sullivan Show singing Turn, 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 which to me as a kid signified a change in the zeitgeist. All of a sudden, we went from cutesy studio-manufactured guys and girls all buttoned up singing standard songs to these guys casually dressed singing a different kind of song. You can see it on YouTube, the Byrds' Turn, 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 on the Ed Sullivan Show. I was a kid watching musicians on stage singing cute soft rock, easy listening type of songs like Paul Anka, Neil Sedaka, Chubby Checker, etc. Then these guys come out. It was a big change. This was not a cute Beatles love song. It was primal simplicity. That was the beauty of it. Back then I didn't know what that symbolized, but I figured it out since then. Music went from the corporate heads creating a fantasy on stage to the freedom of these guys to do their own thing. Ultimately, rock is a symbol of freedom. Until there is rock and roll in the Middle East and North Korea, they won't be free. Egypt has modern nightclubs but Afghanistan doesn't. In Saudi Arabia, a kid was walking down the street listening to his MP3 player. He started dancing. The Mutawwa or religious Muslim police arrested him. It's simple. The communists tried to keep it out. They couldn't. Big band is nice, but this was the new music that helped revolutionize freedom. If you can't listen to rock, you're not free. There is a documentary called Sounds of the 60s, the most exciting decade in music history. The music reflected the changes in society. Rock and roll started in the mid-1950s partially from the spirit of R&B, which was mostly performed by black musicians, but because of prejudice they did not play much black music on white-owned radio or TV stations at the time, so white guys like Elvis, Buddy Holly, Jerry Lee Lewis and a few others sang that style of music in the media. Elvis was brought up in the church in Memphis. There was some kind of theater there that had live music where Elvis went to as a kid. Musicians are bohemians. They care about their art, not skin colors, so Elvis mixed with the local black and white musicians where he honed the early rock sound. You can play jailhouse rock today and people will dance to it just like they did in 1957. It's not style. It's the raw primal feel of the music. That's why rock is timeless, because it touches human nature. Some classical music has a noble feel like Beethoven's Fifth Symphony, but rock has that basic primal feel that even Muslims want to dance to, even though technically, they're not allowed to dance. There was a big fight back in the late 1950s, early 1960s between Pat Boone type of music and rock. Country was strong back then too. You can see it in the top hits of the day. It was a mix between rock/pop and easy listening until 1965 when rock won until hip-hop invaded the music scene. Nowadays rock is the major genre of music for men. Find rock music at number 781.64 at the library. Rockmusiclist.com, Rubens Rock and Roll Reference Discography. Encyclopedia of Rock Music. History of rock websites. en.wikipedia.org Wiki the _history _of rock _roll. The History of Rock and Roll is an American radio documentary on rock and roll music, first syndicated in 1969. LouderSound.com features the 50 best rock albums ever. Classic Rock History. ClassicRockHistory.com. en.wikipedia.org Wiki origins of rock _roll. Rockmusictimeline.com. Rock Music Timeline is an online chronology of the first 50 years of rock music history. Rock music categories at cali.org/en/arts/music/styles/r/rock. Subcategories: Classic, Electroclash, EMO, Garage, Gothic, Heavy Metal, Industrial, Jam, Native American, New Wave, Progressive, Punk, Rockabilly, Ska, Surf. Rock music websites at cali.org/en/arts/music/styles/r/rock. Angelfire.com/ky2/newrock. RAREBIRD9.net, Rarebirds Rock and Roll Rarity Reviews. ZoomOnline.com, Zoom Online. Find rock bands and artists at cali.org/en/arts/music/styles/r/rock/bands_and_artists. Click a letter. Find rock websites at musicamounts.org/styles/rock and musicamounts.org/styles/rock/bands_and_artists. These websites are similar to cali.org but not identical. Rock websites at musicamounts.org/styles/rock/links. GuitarGods.com, Guitar Gods, profiles, news and collected resources on many well-known guitarists. RockReunion.de, Rock Reunion, German-based online magazine with news, MP3s, reviews, and interviews. Rock'n'RollPHotopage.com, rock and roll photo page, live photographs of various punk and rock and roll bands, plus MP3s and a CD/video store. Rockboard.net, rock music-related message boards covering alternative, classic, metal, hardcore, punk and ska music and those making it. SoBugStew.com, SoBugStew, dedicated to unearthing the best in fringe rock. NewMusic.net, the New Music Network, band information, audio files, and photos. TheroCKWorld.com. Rock magazines at musicamounts.org/styles/rock/magazines_and_e-zines. AlteredTone.com, Altered Tone, with rock music news, exclusive interviews, album reviews, live photos, band features, online radio stream, and tour dates. Aversion.com, Aversion.com, featuring interviews, news, reviews and artist histories for rock, punk, and indie artists. Bigo.com.sg, Bigo, online version of a rock magazine from Asia. With news, gig guide, giveaways, features, music, and film reviews. BlackVelvetMagazine.com, Black Velvet, paper, an online zine devoted to glam, rock, alternative and pop-punk music. With news, interviews, pictures, band details, reviews, and message board. CausticTruths.com, Caustic Truths, paper, an e-zine covering punk, garage, emo, hardcore, and related music. CustomHeavy.com, Custom Heavy, covering hard underground music including stoner doom, groove, and metal. DJMartian.blogspot.com, DJ Martian's page, diverse music weblog. DriveMagazine.net, Drive Magazine, online zine dedicated to rock culture. EsotericEcho.com, Echo from Esoterica, online music magazine with interviews, reviews, columns and fiction. EscapeHell.com, EscapeHell.com, a music news site with band information, album reviews, interviews, and show listings. ExiledEzine.net, Exiled Ezine, covering underground metal, hardcore, indie, emo, and punk. FaceItLive.com, Face It Live, with reviews, interviews, video and music clips, pictures, news, tour dates, and commentary on rock music and artists. FastAndBulbous.com, Fast and Bulbous music webzine, online zine featuring top picks by year, album reviews and rants, a history of punk, a Funkadelic feature, and show poster gallery. FreakShowMusic.co.uk, Freak Show Music, a UK site providing news, reviews, forums, MP3s, and other downloads. Frequency.org.uk, Frequency eZine, a e-zine covering electronic, experimental, rock, post-rock, noise, reggae, psychedelic, underground and sometimes overground music. guitar_chef.tripod.com, Guitar Chef, the American version of the Italian zine by the same name. Guitarapalooza.com, Guitarapalooza, features information, articles, and lessons by many instrumental rock guitarists, also with biographies, music, interviews, helpful hints, a resource center, online CD store, and audio clips. Indulged.com, Indulged, an online music publication supporting new artists in the rock, punk, hardcore, emo, metal, heavy metal, alternative, and pop genres. INK19.com, Inc19. Loudworks.com, Loudworks.com, news source and online community portal for the loud rock music scene. Alternative.co.za, The Alternative Whole, alternative/metal e-zine with band profiles, news, music and website reviews, gig guides. Angelfire.com/rock/enroll experience, rock and roll experience, online version of this Maryland-based magazine. Angelfire.com/ma/strutterhour, Strutter, a print magazine from Holland covering melodic and related rock styles. XSmagazine.com, XS Magazine, weekly music news, artist interviews, artist discographies, concert listings, and an online shop. Madcapmusic.com, Madcap, rock album and concert reviews, and best of lists. Majesticmagazine.com, Majestic Magazine, news, reviews, interviews and MP3 samples for several different types of rock music. Mandy'sTrunk.com, Mandy's World, entertainment and music magazine of music journalist, Mandy's Trunk. Megarock.co.uk, Megarock, UK-based e-zine covering rock news, gigs, photos, and bands with a particular emphasis on the Milton Keynes area. Metalshop.com.au, Metal Shop, online Australian magazine, featuring news, shopping, columns, forum, chat, freebies, downloads, and links. musicq.net/topmusic.html, Tiope Music Magazine, new music zine with song lyrics, CD and concert reviews, and band interviews. Musicmayhem.com, come check out what all those great 80s bands are up to along w/all the new hard rockin' bands site is full of pictures, interviews, everything and anything you need. MWE3.com, Music Web Express 3000, CD reviews, interviews, and stories featuring new and classic rock, pop, progressive and instrumental music. Nationalnoise.com, Nationalnoise.com, music news and information, with exclusive band photographs, interviews, and CD reviews. Noneforyoudear.com, None for You Dear, online magazine covering music and culture with interviews, reviews and features. PrincessCafe.com, Princess Cafe, a virtual rock and roll restaurant with cheeky rock and roll menus, unusual rock information, rock birthday tributes, links, and even some cooking tips and recipes. REAXmusic.com, Reax Magazine, Music and Culture, local zine for Central Florida. redhot-n-rockin.co.uk, Red Hot and Rockin' Magazine, a UK-based monthly 50s rock and roll and rockabilly magazine, featuring artist profiles, articles, album reviews, news, and upcoming gig listings. RichieUnterberger.com, Richie Unterberger's books and reviews, excerpts from this author's books on cult rock artists from all eras. RockaandRollCasino.com, web magazine covering rock music in Las Vegas, Atlantic City, Biloxi, and other casino destinations. Rockazine.com, Rockazine.com, real audio rock music website featuring exclusive interviews, photographs, and sound samples. ROCKIN50s.com, Rockin' 50s magazine, covering the entire spectrum of the rock and roll era of the 50s and early 60s with stories, interviews, pictures, and news. Rocknet.nl, Rocknet Music Magazine, live show and album reviews, interviews, articles, news and biographies. Rockreview.co.uk, Rock Review, offers rock and metal news, reviews and gigs. Rockscene.com, Rockscene.com, e-zine dedicated to the promotion of good music everywhere, with particular emphasis on Atlanta. Slamemalot.com, Slamemalot.com, an online music magazine with CD reviews and music news. Street2000.it, Street Team 2000, rock music, culture, and fashion, with interviews, reviews, and webcasts. TheCrapAwards.co.uk, TheCrapAwards.co.uk, brief reviews of rock and alternative CDs. Undergroundmine.com, The Underground Mine, online resource for the underground music scene in Los Angeles and the world beyond. usounds.com, usounds, international underground music e-zine published by a worldwide journalists collective. Rock and roll websites 1. AmericanMusicMagazine.com, Answers.com/topic/rock-music, Bartleby.com/65/ro/rockmusi.html, bbc.co.uk/music/rocka-and-alt, bmi.com/rock/history.asp, canhdiane.com/genre/rockpop.html, CHANNEL101.com, christianrock.net, classicrockpage.com, en.wikipedia.org/wiki/rock_and_roll, en.wikipedia.org/wiki/rock_music, en.wikiquote.org/wiki/rock_music. Rock and roll websites 2. erock.net, eugenerockmusic.com, 50sweb.com/music.htm, 50things.com/rock.music.html, fraglerocker.com, germanrock.de, getreedytorock.com, girdermusic.com, gloriousnoise.com, grok.com, hardradio.com, hardrock.com, historyarch.com/rockbooks.html, history-of-rock.com, history-of-rock.music.com, iowarockandroll.com, irockandroll.com, last.fm, lyricsfreak.com, melodicrock.com, modernrock.com/charts, mp3lyrics.org, mtv.com/music/rock, musicchoice.com/channels/rock.asp, music-critic.com/rock, oldiesmusic.com, omegarock.com, onlinerock.com, progarchives.com, cywarrior.com/rockmusic.html, punkrock.org, radioparadise.com, rantaandroll.com, reasonTOrock.com. Rock and roll websites 1. Rock.com, rock.thepodcastnetwork.com, rock3.co.uk, rockaandrollconfidential.com, rockaandrolldad.com, rockaandrollgeek.podshow.com, rockaandrollmusicfund.org, rockaandrollroadmap.com, rockband.com, rockamp.org, rockdaily.com, rockdetector.com, rockdiscography.com, rockfamilytree.com, rockhall.com, rockinrockandroll.com, rockkennedy.com, rocklibrary.com, rockmatrix.co.uk, rockmine.music.co.uk, rockmusic.com.au, rockmusic.org, rockmusiclist.com, rockmusicmemorabilia.com, rockmusiczone.com, rocknews.com, rockandrollus.com, rockandrolluniverse.com, rockoandthenet.com, rockoandtv.com, rockreviews.info, rockrivermusic.com, rocksbackpages.com, rocksite.info, rocksolidmusic.com, rocksource.net, rockcomment.com, rollingstone.com, royaltyfreemusic.com/rock-n-roll.html, schoolofrock.com, sealrockmusic.com, stevesbeatles.com/songs/rock_and_roll_music.asp, surfrockmusic.com, themusichat.com, themusicindex.com, wackelipedia.com/r/ro/rock_and_roll.html.